And so that brings us to, can you be a workaholic and a good mom? It is almost impossible to do both. Eventually, something has to give. So, most days we would leave for work before 8 and we would return around 8 o'clock at night. So, needless to say, this was unsustainable, especially when we got to the point of having 3 small children. Uh, and it was a very unhealthy way to live and to raise our kids. But what could we do? We needed the income, we really couldn't move, and it wasn't an option to work from home. Now, most of the time, I did enjoy my job, I did enjoy what I was doing. Um, but the one thought still remained with me throughout all of this, and that is I wanted to be home with my kids. There was no way that my career or my job, no matter how much I liked it, was ever going to numb this feeling or get rid of this feeling. It was a persistent feeling and something that I was looking and trying to figure out what we can do to get into a better position so that I could actually work from home. So before our kids were even in elementary school, we decided that by middle school, we wanted to be able to homeschool our kids. That was the goal. And to be honest, I had no idea how this was going to happen. I was totally clueless. I just knew that that's what we wanted to aim for. And I had no idea how we were going to get there. To be honest, I didn't even have any hope that we actually would. So I thought we would be stuck on the hamster wheel forever, no end in sight. So I know, a bit dramatic, but again, that's how I felt. I remember those intense feelings and even the tears of crying because I felt like I was on a hamster wheel and there was no way we were getting off of it. So sometimes it just doesn't matter if the facts are on your side. So by the time baby number 4 made his grand entrance, I was asking more and more intently to work from home. So we were now living in a place that wasn't as expensive as New York City. So the possibility of changing our circumstances was actually an option now. So the hamster wheel was looking like there was an exit from it. But every time I asked about working from home, it was shot down. It didn't matter that I could prove that I was more productive working from home, which I was. Changing the way something has always been done is never easy, even if the facts are on your side. So you gotta make some plans. It was obvious that I would not be able to keep my current job and work from home. So I needed to figure out how to go out on my own. And at the time, virtual assistants were becoming more prevalent. So this was about 7, maybe 8 years ago, just the planning part of this. It was becoming more prevalent, but still not well known. So I decided that I was going to start working towards creating my own virtual assistant business. So I began by building a website, figuring out the services that I could offer, and figuring out how to do this in general. We needed to prepare before we took the leap. And if you're in that place that you're really struggling with the hamster wheel and looking for an exit strategy, then I did a 3-part series on how to start a virtual assistant business, and I will leave those links below so that you can get started. Even if the exit is a few years down the road, you need to start at some point. So today is a good day to do that. So I'm not going to paint a picture of rainbows and Skittles for you because doing this is scary. I am a chicken by nature. Anyone else with me on that one? One thing that being a momtrepreneur has taught me is that I actually don't mind being second to someone else. I don't mind making someone else's ideas happen. I really don't. But the same loyalty that I show, I expect it to be returned. Treat me well, and I will be your best asset. And so, since I work independently now and make my own ideas happen, and I select my clients very carefully, you know how that has worked out. So, what can I say? At least I have the freedom now to make my ideas happen and also the freedom to really choose who I want to work with. So the people that I do work with are awesome. So I'm having all of these thoughts, I'm having all of these feelings. I want to figure out how to get off the hamster wheel. And then it happened. I was laid off. Yes, sometimes we are handed lemons. At this point, I was really trying to decide whether to make lemonade or to freeze the lemons and throw them at the people who deserved it. So, yeah. Hey, those are the thoughts and feelings. Let's just be real. I said I was not going to give you rainbows and Skittles. I was going to give you the raw emotion. So instead of looking for a different job, I decided to try this virtual assistant thing. And let me tell you, it was not easy. So as I'm trying to build my own business, I am also applying to other jobs because we needed to make I needed to be making an income by the time my severance was up. I had 3 months severance. So everything was on an accelerated schedule. So I either needed to find a job or I needed to have a client. So our daycare options were also no longer available to us. So I had to figure out how to work from home or find a new daycare and job, which was something I did not want to do anymore. So yes, I was totally stressed and freaked out. I was actually trying to apply at hospitals around here so I could work the night shift and then my husband would be home. Like trying to figure this out, all of this out was just very stressful. And I was praying hard during these times. And yes, I am a Christian, so I have to say that God was so faithful during this time because I got my first client 2.5 months in to my 3 months severance package. And it was enough hours to meet our minimum budget. So it did not replace my income, and I was not expecting that. I think after 7 years, I think I might be up to the place where I'm actually replacing my full-time income, but my goal was never to replace my income. It was always to make enough to meet our budget and work fewer hours. So that has been wildly successful. Mom, I'm not going to diminish your thoughts and feelings and just tell you just to work harder at this thing. It's not easy, but it can be done. Yes, your feelings will rage, and that's okay. They say that hindsight is always 20/20. So after more than 7 years of doing this, I now run 2 businesses, this blog, including the podcast and YouTube channel, and my virtual assistant business. I am published, I've spoke at conferences, and I've created the life I've always wanted. And that was to be home with my kids and to be the biggest influence in their lives. That is defining success on my own terms. But it wasn't easy. I've asked myself so many times if I can really do this. And sometimes I answer myself and say, no. But again, hindsight is 20/20. And I can tell you with confidence that it can be done. So just remember, if you are starting out, don't compare your beginning with somebody else's middle. I'm in the middle now. I'm not at the beginning. So what I want to offer to you is the wisdom and knowledge that I've gained from where I'm at right now. So it takes work, and there are a lot of emotional stages to building a business. I will leave the link below. But you can do it. Mom, this has been a very honest post about my story. And if you still have questions, I would love to try and answer them. So feel free to let me know. If you don't want to leave them in the comments below, hop on over to lifeinbox.blog and you can contact me privately through the website. And I would be happy to take the time to answer any questions you may have. My whole goal with sharing I guess, a little bit more in depth was that no matter how long it takes you, you can define success on your own terms. And even if it takes you 5 years, 6 years to do so, because that's actually may have been 10 years from the point of my first son being born to when we finally reached the point that I was able to work from home and homeschool. It was 10 years. So that is not a short time frame. And I was not patient always with the timeline, even though I had no idea how it was going to end. And so I thought the end was always going to be the hamster wheel. But it did change. And so I want to encourage you with that, is that no matter how long it takes, it can change. If you are ready to dip your toes into the waters of entrepreneurship or a momtrepreneurship, then download your free 20-page workbook on how to start a business without a niche. And you can break free from the 9 to 5, be your own boss, raise your kids, and enjoy your life. Mom, I am so glad you joined me today. If you want to help spread the word, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, for more great momtrepreneur content, check out lifeunboxed.blog, and I will see you in the next video.